Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Jamie Dean, and I thought I'd do a bit of a pickups video today, just to show you some things I've been gradually accumulating until I had enough to warrant making a video, and just some things that I've managed to grab and add into my collection over the last little while. I thought it might be fun to do a video like this every now and then, just to show you how the collection's growing, how my collection is growing, and give you a little bit of a look at things that I've managed to find and how I found them. Let's get on into it because I've got a bit of a pile of stuff here. I've had a really good start to the year. This is all things that I've managed to find since the beginning of the year. And I've got some really, really cool stuff to show you, I think, anyway. Including one, like, crazy secondhand store find that was just like, it might be my best secondhand store find ever. And I've had some pretty good ones. I've been very, very lucky in terms of finding games in secondhand stores, especially last year. I grabbed a whole bunch of stuff, but this one might take the cake. Anyway, let's get into some strategy guides and things. I've got on a bit of a strategy guide binge lately. I love strategy guides. I love gaming magazines, any of that old like printed material that we just don't really get anymore. Art books, that sort of thing. Art books aren't so rare these days, but certainly gaming magazines, retro gaming magazines I love. Old strategy guides I love, and I love getting my hands on them if and when I can. One that I picked up very recently, I believe this was an eBay purchase for just getting rid of it for very, very cheap, and that is Splatoon 2. This is the official strategy guide for Splatoon 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I'll show you a little bit of the inside. So it looks a bit like that, just going through like the different stages, different weapon loadouts, that kind of thing. Not a ton of art in there, ink battles. Going through different modes. Not a ton of art in the book, but yeah, just a cool little curio that I thought would be cool to have on the shelf for one of my favorite games. If you haven't played a Splatoon game, Splatoon 3 being the current one on Switch, highly recommend it if you like a team-based shooter. They are very, very good. Very unsung gem, I think, Splatoon. It's got a very good community, very tight-knit sort of community there. But it's not a game you really hear thrown around very often when it comes to team-based shooters. You know, it's more like, you know, like your Marvel Rivals being the big one at the moment. But certainly like Team Fortress, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, all that sort of thing in the past. Splatoon's a name that I think belongs up there with all of those big hitters. It's one of the better team-based shooters, in my opinion, on consoles. What else we got here? I managed to grab this Game Informer magazine. This was in a secondhand store, I think for like 50 cents or $1 or something. And the reason I got it is for that right there, the top 300 games of all time. I might make a video having a bit of a flip through this just to see what Game Informer's top 300 games of all time are. I haven't looked at it yet. I like to wait and do that live if I'm going to make a video of it and react to it at the same time as you. But also, just check out the cover art, you know. Awesome Metroid cover art, and the back cover as well, especially. Really cool. I don't know if it makes a full... Does it make a full? Yes. Yeah, it looks like it does. A full fold-out image. So that's pretty cool. I wasn't going to leave that there for not much. Next up, now I have made a video on this particular magazine. So this is a copy of Hyper Magazine, which is a gaming magazine we had here, had being the operative word, in Australia, sort of like from, I want to say the mid to late 90s through to oh gosh, I don't know when. Hyper, probably until gaming magazines stopped being a thing, really. Hyper was one of the more popular ones here. I read a fair bit of Hyper. My local library where I grew up had a subscription, so I would go and borrow them out all the time. And the reason I wanted this is because of this here, their top 50 games ever, much like the Game Informer one. This is from October 2000, this issue. So I love these like time capsule magazines, game magazines, where I really wanted to go back and see what their top 50 games of all time were as of October 2000, as well as their worst 25. They've also got reviews in here for Final Fantasy IX and one of my favorite games of all time, Diablo 2. So I also wanted to have a read through that and see what they had to say about the gem that is Diablo 2, the absolute masterpiece. But yeah, I have made a video that is coming soon. If maybe you've watched it already on the channel, but having a flip through this and checking out the top 50 and worst 25 games ever as of October 2000, according to Hyper Magazine. So check that one out on the channel. Another gaming magazine. This is an eBay pickup. This was one that I was actively looking for. Very, very, very hard to find. So another Australian publication. This is N64 Gamer. I'm a big Nintendo 64 fanboy. That was kind of my console growing up. I played a lot of games before then. I'm old. But the Nintendo 64 is like where it really kicked off for me in terms of loving video games. And N64 Gamer is a magazine that my dad used to buy the odd issue here and there from the newsagents back in the day. And I would absolutely love it when he brought a new issue of this home. And this one in particular is very special, I think, because this is the N64 Gamer issue where they review Ocarina of Time. Now, I owned this back in the day when I was a kiddo, and my brother actually cut this up to get all of the cool art pictures out of the magazine from the review that they used in the review of Ocarina of Time. So I had this hacked. I was so pissed, dude. Oh my God. I was so angry with him when he did that. He did that to put them on his school books, to stick them onto his school books. Yeah. But I was very, very happy. I kept that. I kept that hacked up copy. It had no cover, cut to pieces. I kept that for decades, just as a nostalgic memory. And then unfortunately it got ruined in a rain event that we had where I live, and I was absolutely devastated, heartbroken, and so I had to throw it away, and I didn't ever think I would see it again until I came across, completely by chance, this one on eBay, and I had to have it, absolutely had to have it, this time with the cover intact and not cut to pieces. Shane, thank you very much. So this I will probably frame this for my games room. Like, that's how special this one is to me. Lots and lots of memories around this particular issue of this magazine, being that, yeah, Ocarina of Time had just come out, and what a game changer that was. Also, don't know if you can see that, you got these cool Turok 2 stickers for your Nintendo 64, which we had and we put on our Nintendo 64, and they stayed on there for many, many years. So a lot of Australian Nintendo 64s would have been adorned with those Turok stickers. So shout out if you had those on your Nintendo 64 here. But yeah, one of my favorite pickups from the bundle that I've got here for sure. And I may do a flip. I might do a look through that and a read through of the review for Ocarina. That might be a cool little nostalgic thing to do. So you may see a video of that coming up. All right, what else we got? Strategy guide wise, we also have this one here. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl strategy guide. I believe this was another eBay pickup, another cheapie. I love collecting strategy guides. I really, really like collecting Pokemon strategy guides in particular. This is one of two that I've managed to acquire this year. This being the less, or the more common, I should say, of the two. But yeah, one that I didn't own. It's really nice condition. A couple of creases in the cover, but otherwise not too bad. So I grabbed that to add to the shelf for sure, to go alongside my Pokemon Platinum strategy guide that I also have, that is in far, far, far worse condition than this, that's for sure. But very nice. But the other, probably, well, I mean, definitely far more rare strategy guide, but one of the more rare pickups from my bundle, and this was another, like, complete just luck I come across this. It wasn't like, I think it was a pretty good deal for what I paid. I was very surprised that it was the price that it was. But I've never seen one. I've never seen one for sale in Australia here. And this just got, it came up in like the recommended items, and it was also happened to be in Australia, and it's the only one I've seen since I've been looking for Pokemon strategy guides. And that is Fire Red and Leaf Green, the official Prima guide. Now, these are not easy to find. The Prima guides in particular, the old Prima guides of basically, any big name retro video game have become a very, very highly sought after collectible. So I was, I think a bit of a right place, right time situation. It definitely was more expensive than any other strategy guide that I've shelled out for, but still a really, really good deal. And I jumped on that straight away. So I've bagged it up in this nice protective sleeve, and that is where it shall stay until I get it around to actually having a flip through, because I definitely do want to do that. But yeah, really, really stoked with getting that. I'm so happy to have that in the collection. You can't even believe it. I've played Pokemon Fire Red very, very recently, only a couple of years ago. I played it for the first time. I never owned it because I had a Game Boy Advance SP back in the day, but never actually played Fire Red or Leaf Green like when they were popular at the time. Same with Gen 3, Ruby and Sapphire. I missed those completely as well. Like, I just missed that whole generation. I don't know why, because I was such a huge Pokemon fan, but for whatever reason, they completely passed me by. But I was, really happy to revisit it later, and now I'm super fucking stoked to get a hold of this strategy guide. Red and Blue, Pokemon Red and Blue being like some of my favorite games, again, of all time. So, yeah, happy to have that strategy guide. Can't believe I found it. Crazy. Speaking of rare strategy guides, there's two more here. This one I picked up because I played this game on the channel very recently, played it through for the very first time, and that is Super Mario 64. This is the Brady Games strategy guide. I have had a flick through this. I did not use it for my playthrough. I actually bought it just in case I might need it for my playthrough, and wanted to keep the playthrough like as old school as I possibly could. So not going and like Googling how to get things or how to find stars or whatever. But I didn't end up needing it. I managed to do it all by my little lonesome. And now I have this as like a really cool little memento from that playthrough, which was really special. Really, really love that game. And this was a really cool guide too. So I found that one for really, really cheap, actually. I don't know if it's very rare. I don't know if it's very collectible or sought after. I know there's a couple of different versions of Super Mario 64 strategy guides. But this is the one that I think we had in Australia. So there we go. And to match it, at the same time, I also bought the Mario Kart 64 strategy guide. This is the Prima, again, another Prima guide before they started to get like that standardized the red sort of like graphics across the top. This is this is just a black and white strategy guide on the inside, but another, quite as far as I know, fairly difficult to find guide. But another one for a game that I absolutely adore. Another one of my favorite games of all time. Very, very special game for me, Mario Kart 64, for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool to add that to the collection as well. So that's it for my print media. Let's get into some games. Hang on. No, before we get into games, I also found this. This was for $1 in my local bookshop, secondhand bookshop, which also they sell DVDs, and that is Pokemon the First Movie, the Steelbook. I've wanted a copy of this. I've got a VHS of this on my shelf, but I wanted an actual... I don't own a VHS player, so I wanted a copy that I could actually... like a hard copy that I could watch. And I have done so since I bought this. I chucked it on and watched it one rainy afternoon and had a good old time reliving that era. That was so cool, actually. But yeah, just a lovely little steelbook. See it without the slip on there. Fairly simplistic, nothing super elaborate on the inside. I don't know if it came with printed material on the inside or not, but yeah, I mean, for a buck, a buck for something that I absolutely love and have been looking for a long time, there was no way in hell I was going to leave that there. So that was just a cool little find, a right place, right time sort of day on that one. All right, games. Let's have a look at some games. I've got 4 games here to show you. The first of which is a Switch game, one that I have had my eye on since they announced it, because most of the games on here I have never played before and so have wanted to try out. And that is the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. Now, as of the time of recording this, they've recently announced a Fighting Collection 2 for Marvel vs. Capcom, which is exciting. I'll probably want to grab that as well. But there are, I've never really messed around with Marvel vs. Capcom. It's one of those like crazy, fast, insane fighters that just sort of like lights and colors and noise, and my eyes kind of glaze over and I've got no idea what I'm doing. So I've kind of avoided them up until now, but I think I want to give it a go. You know, like it seems a bit more button mashy friendly maybe than some other fighters. But one of the real draw cards for this was the Punisher beat 'em up, which I've never played, and I think that looks really, really good. So that's probably the first game on here that I'm going to check out. But I'm keen to check out everything on here. I don't think I've actually played a single game on here. I've seen Marvel vs. Capcom be played by friends of mine who are much better at fighting games than I am, but I've never actually given it a shot myself. But there's everything on here, 7 games. What do we got? I haven't got my glasses on. X-Men, Children of the... Fuck, where are my glasses? Hang on. All right. X-Men, Children of the Atom, I think that says. The Punisher, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which apparently is a really, really good one. Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. So they're the titles that come with that. And I mean, I'm just a big Street Fighter fan. I'm a big Marvel fan. I love this this artwork. Also comes with this little comic on the inside. Again, any sort of printed stuff that you get in games, it's a thing of a bygone era that I think is really cool. I'm a big manual guy. Like when I collect games, I always want the manuals because they are, you know, again, a lost art form. But it comes, with this cool little comic book, which I'll flip through and have a read of. But yeah, happy to add that one to the collection. They'll go on the shelf, and you'll probably see some videos over time of me checking out the games on that collection. All right, now let's get into some big hitters here. One of the big hitters. This is a game I have been trying to find forever. Ever since I started, setting up this whole game collection and deciding to start a game collection, this has been on my list. And I just haven't been able to find it for what I think is a reasonable amount of money. Like the price of this game in particular, like this is complete in box, seems to have skyrocketed, and I'm not 100% sure why that is. But I finally, after must be 18 months of looking and waiting and checking, I finally managed to find one that was both in very good condition and a reasonable price that I was happy to pay. And that is F-Zero X, which I just played on the channel very recently. When I got this and added it to my collection, I wanted to give it a go, and I was very happy to find that this is just as awesome as I remember it being. Really, really, really fucking cool arcade racer. But there it is in a box protector, so it's a bit shiny on the camera, but it is in very, very good condition. And like I said, it is complete. Got its manual and everything. The cartridge is in beautiful nick. So yeah, really, really happy to add another Nintendo 64 boxed game to my collection. Starting to get to the tail end of the games that I want for my Nintendo 64 collection. But this is definitely a huge hitter that I had yet to grab. And now I can cross that one off my list. Very, very, very happy to have that one. Lots of good memories playing that as a kid. Big fan of F-Zero X. Please bring it back, Nintendo. There is room for that and Mario Kart, I promise. It will sell. If you make an F-Zero game, it will sell. All right, and the last pickups, this is probably, again, these are the secondhand store pickups that I thought might be one of my biggest pickups ever that I've had in a secondhand store. Sometimes, man, it's funny doing game hunting in secondhand stores because 90% of the time you go in there and there's nothing or just the same Wii Play, Wii Sports, Wii Fit Drek that you've seen 100 times. But every now and then you find just something that makes all the times that you've missed worthwhile. And this was one of those times. Tip, if you are hunting for games in secondhand stores, charity stores, op shops, that sort of thing, Always ask if they have any games out the back that they haven't put out yet. Always ask. That's where I've gotten almost all of my really big hitters that I have on the shelf behind me here, that I've picked up from secondhand stores, has come from asking if they have any more out the back. This was one of those times where, yes, they did have quite a few out the back, and these are the ones that I grabbed. They are PlayStation 1 games. The first of which is not rare or sought after or anything. I just grabbed it because it's a PlayStation 1 game, and where I live, you just don't see those in secondhand stores at all, ever. And that is Sled Storm. Not a game I've played, but one that I think I would like to play, actually. Like a jet ski, not a jet ski, snowmobile arcade racer. The reason I said jet ski is because it reminds me of Wave Race, just looking at the back of it. I would very much like to give this a try because I love Wave Race. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, arcade racer ever. And this looks like a very similar concept, just on snowmobiles. So at some point, I very much want to give this one a whirl for sure. Now this one is missing its front insert. As you can see, it's just got its manual, but no insert on the front, which is a shame. But it was a couple of bucks, so you know I'm not too upset about it. So that was pickup number one. But then in the same bundle of games they brought out, another game that I've never played before. I feel like a cousin or someone I am related to way back had a copy of this, maybe because the cover looks really familiar. Like I've seen the case sitting somewhere, like in someone's house. I feel like it was a cousin of mine. But this is a very rare, expensive game, and I got it for less than $5. And that is, on PlayStation 1 as well, The Legend of Dragoon. So this is another big Final Fantasy-esque sort of massive RPG. I think it's over 4 discs, it says. Yes, 4 discs. So, yeah, you don't come across games like that very often. You don't come across PS1 games, again, especially where I live. They're like unicorn shit. They are like so fucking rare to see out in the wild. You really have to go to places like eBay to get your hands on PS1. And so whenever I see PS1 in like the physical, like it's there and I can touch it and hold it and it's in a secondhand store, I pretty much grab it sight unseen. But I couldn't believe that they had this. Like, this sells on eBay for, God, hundreds of dollars Australian. It's in very, very good condition. There's a couple of little scratches on the front, but I mean, overall, it is in beautiful condition. It is complete. It has its manual. It has all the discs, all of which are in great nick. Yeah, that's a crazy find. So that would easily be one of the best finds I've ever made. And again, it was just a case of going into the right store on the right day at the right time and asking if they had more out the back, because they had a couple of games out on display, but I always ask if they had more out the back, and this was sitting at the back in a pile. And I went, yes, please, I'll have that. Probably not one I'm terribly eager to play. I'm not a big, like, massive, grandiose RPG guy, JRPG guy especially. They just don't really appeal to me. So this is one time where I kind of break my rule of, like, I tend to collect for nostalgia. I tend to collect games not for rarity or value. In fact, I do the complete opposite more often than not, but collect games that are meaningful to me, that have some nostalgic attachment for me, some memory attached to them. From my childhood. This has none other than where I saw it in somebody's house at some point. This is one I have decided to hang on to just as a value proposition. So that is going to be on the shelf until I decide, exactly what to do with it. It might just sit there as a cool little memento of a time that I got very, very, very lucky going into a secondhand store. But there you go. That's the bulk, or that is pretty much, yeah, that's it. That's all my pickups for this episode. If you enjoyed doing this, if this is something that you had fun looking through things that I'm picking up and I'm adding to the collection, make sure you drop down to the comments and leave a comment and let me know if this is something you want to see more of. I'm happy to like just hoard my pickups until I've got enough to make a video, and just sort of sporadically put a video out every now and then, going through what I've managed to find and where and how much and why and all that sort of thing. I think it's quite fun. I like watching other people's pickups. So yeah, if this is something that was enjoyable to you, let me know and I'll do more of them. Now, if this is something that you enjoyed, make sure you come back for the next time I do one of these, because I have just secured one of my absolute grail games. It's done. The deal is done. It's been posted. It's on its way. I was hoping it'd be here in time for this video. It's not here in time for this video, obviously. So I will add that to the next pickups video. But it is like, it's a really obscure random PC game that probably nobody other than me is going to care about, but I care about it a lot. Any guesses on what it might be? Leave them in the comments. I'll be surprised if anyone gets it, but it is one of my top tier, like top 3 grail games of all time that I've been searching for forever. And I finally got it. I'm really, really, really happy and excited. So I'll share that with you the next time I do one of these. Now, if you want to have a bit more of a deep dive into my game collection and have a bit of a tour through the collection, through my game room, I am making a series of videos going through all that section by section, console by console, and sort of sharing some of the memories around some of the games that I have on my shelf, why I've got them there, why they're special to me. So make sure you click the link that you can see on your screen at the moment, and that will take you through to where you can have a look through the collection in detail as it evolves. All right, that's it from me for today, my friends. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to go and put all this stuff on the shelf. If you liked the video, make sure you drop down the bottom and give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more. Otherwise, my name's been Jamie Dean, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.